So, the sea's a lot calmer today. Much more fishable. Pretty certain there'll be some bass there. It's just a question of whether my bait is acceptable or not. There's enough fish about. I'm fishing whole squid because that's pretty much all I got in my freezer. Coming at sort of short notice, but the sea's a lot more fishable. Fish are being caught, I think, on lugworm mainly. Some really nice fish being caught at the minute. I thought the water was a little bit too what's the word? I thought the water was a little bit too cold for a volume of fish, but we just had a really good blow over the weekend, and a lot of fish arrived yesterday, some good sized ones, but they'll be here one minute and they'll be gone the next. So it's like the sea's like fishable now, but you need the right bait. It's always the same, getting the right bait. I'm just hoping that the fish are hungry and they'll be tempted by a whole squid. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. They do take it. There's something going on with the ambulance service over here. There's some people over there, some hikers or something. So whether someone's paraglider's done himself in or something, I don't know. They're over there, look, it's the ambulance there, look. So whether someone's lost a dog or whether they've fallen off a cliff or God knows. Just hello, there's something nibbling at it. There's something nibbling at it. I've just got one 4.0 hook in it. Fin varifas. So what we're going to do, we're going to fish. We've only got about another half an hour or so of the ebb, so this is a prime time. We're going to fish until the water starts physically coming back up the beach. We're going to pack up, go and have some dinner, and then we'll come back and fish the top half of the tide, probably somewhere slightly different. Might head up to the left, might head a bit further down, we'll see. If I had lug, I'd be pretty confident I'd run into a bass. But with a whole squid, you could run into quite a good one. But they've just got to be there. It's as simple as that. It's being here at the right time. And getting hold of bait and keeping bait is a bloody pain in the arse, but that's just the way it is. Rod's nice and high. One hook. Will they find it? Will they find it? That's the thing. Okay, I'll save some battery. There it is. Looks like somebody's just hurt themselves, fallen off the cliff or something over there. Got the ambulance over there. We're fishing here, minding our own business. And look at this, look. So he better not land on me. He's going to go round. He's going to do the loop to loop. He's just assessing where he can land. He's probably going to land on that bit of beach just there. It's not quite low tide, so he's not going to get swamped. Here he comes, look. Here he comes. I've got a whole squid out there, so just leave it. One big 4.0 hook. Anyway, he's coming around, look. He's up there. What's he doing? So I think someone's on a paraglider has crashed into the cliff and they've rescued him over there, look. He's going to land on this bit of beach, I would say. If you don't crash on me. time. Fucking hell, the person can't be that seriously hurt then. What's he doing? Look, the person's over there. He's gone round, he's going to go around about 10 times. Oh, I ain't got time for this. Here's look. Cross to mine, look at this. Years I had that. Loads of space. Look at that. I suppose it's not that windy. What's he going to try and land up there, is he? This could all end in tears. I would have landed on the beach, not behind the revetment, but they're still quite high up there. They know what he's doing. They land where they want to land. Look at that, look at all the shit and sand, look. Look at that. Incredible. Incredible. No fish yet. Right, get back to fishing. Could have left that other squid out there. That probably would have been alright, but you never really know, so you have to check. But it's going to give us an overhead thump, I think. Like trying to get too wet too soon. That's a beauty. That's gone up miles. Come on, bass. Oh, it's quite clear, look. It's almost like lure fishable. That's almost lure fishable. Almost lure fishable. He says. It is so. Someone looks really hurt over there, man. Don't we be taking this long? Air ambulance. I reckon that's a paraglider and he's crashed into the bloody cliff or something. He's done himself in. But, you know, if that's the case, that might not be the case, but there's some more over there, you see. Whenever you get the winds coming onto the land, that's easy to jump off the cliff with it on. But I mean, if you do risky things, you got to expect that, you know, shit can happen. You know, awful stuff can happen to you. So it's like, learn the hard way. I mean, if you look at it, look at him, look. It's obvious. That's where they jump off. They jump off that area there. That'd be one of these paraglider people. Is it worth it? I say not. But you could get done in doing anything though, couldn't you? But it's probably got a higher chance of... See, that's a bigger wave. That's a bigger wave. Didn't think it was just yet the incoming tide. I got about 11:30 here. 11:26. So, and also that's slack water. So you got like 40 minutes, 45 minutes of just when it ain't going to do a lot. So we're just going to fish literally till what's it? So it's 11:20. So we're going to fish till about 12:30, I think. 12:30, 1:45 or something like that. As soon as I can see regular waves sort of coming up the beach where I can see it's coming in, then I'm going to go and have some dinner. And then I'll come back. That's the plan anyway. It is. Just try to look at this and see if it's lure fishable or not. That looks like it's lure fishable. Christ, what is he doing? I think that's lure fishable, that. Look at it. That looks lure fishable to me. Down there, look. Let's try to select the right gear. Okay, hell. He's away. Good, that's him out of the way. Right, new spots, incoming tide. Getting deep out there all the time. So we've just got a Californian calamari. I mean, a lot of people chop it up and use it for bait, but fished whole, for some species it can be quite effective. Years ago we used to use it for cod, up tide and off boats and things. Very effective for a big cod. You can use it overseas, the Californian one, for different species. I've had some mulloway on it or cob on it overseas, on a whole squid, just like this. And you can get bass on it as well. Big bass will take it. So it's not as good as having something like peeler crab or something like that, but it's very, very good bait. Let's try to lose a bit of that line, loopy line there, and what I do, I just get the hook and I just stuff it in there like that, something like that. You can fish it with two hooks, but one biggish hook, fine wire sort of hook will do. And I just use the cotton really at this end. When the bait's this frozen, you ain't got to put too much cotton around it really. This is just to support the hook really, to keep the hook in that upright position like that, exposed. So when the bass picks it up and he moves off with it, it's this hook which gets caught in the corner of his mouth. But the hook's got to be exposed like this, you see. Otherwise, if the hook is in the bait, then as it pulls clear, he won't snare. So you do have to just put a little bit of effort. See the hook just tweaked over then like that. Just got to try and stabilise it as best you can. Go there, it will sort of go there, so that's valid. That's not too bad. So just checking that that's the side of things is going to work. That's it. So that's ready. That's ready to go. Just put the cotton back in. Wind's eased a little bit, so we'll just ease off on the magnets. You could probably have the squid a little bit lower, but that's the way it is at the minute. So what have we got then? So we just recap back where we were. Magnets are on min, so you put magnets on about 8.5, something like that, just to be on the safe side. And we just, that's about right. I'm just going to hop over here like so, like banging my knee on anything that's a bit deeper down this side. Oh! Just want to get it out. The tide's coming in all the time, so it don't matter too much But we want to try and get it out a bit. Trying to get wet as well, even though I've got waders on. This will probably do it actually. Right, let's give this a hoss. As it goes. Lovely, 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 lovely. Bait's intact. You see, it's flooding, you see, so that's coming this way. And these groins have all been busted out, so you're in theory, if there's any fish coming this way, they'll come through that, and you ain't got to be too far out, you see, until you intercept them. But we're miles out there, so that's fine. But and really, they will pick up a squid. It's as simple as that. It's nowhere near as effective as a peeler crab or a lugworm, but if they're there and they're there in number and there's plenty of fish about, I guarantee you they will pick it up. I've not caught many on whole squid. I've not caught many, but you go on Facebook and plenty have. Even this part of the coast, so quietly confident. So it's just getting back over in one bit. Keeping the rod high, because we don't know how much weed there is. Oh, I ain't even done the rod rest yet. That's how fucking eager I've been. That's what we can do. Look at this, look, makeshift one, look. But well, I'll go that side, that's no good. We've got this side. So that'll just keep an eye on that. There's one, you need a rod rest. We'll put it in here for now. I expect that to tip over in a minute. It's working though, isn't it? Keep working it. Bit stiff down there. Finds a stun and then it's... But that's good enough really. Just bung a load in more in there. Do that with it. Compact it. And that's sort of good enough. We'll put it in there. For now. Oh, come on you. Oh god, it's lost its bloody thing now. Century. Nice rods these. Nice rods. That's right. So we're literally expecting a fish to pick up with it, hook itself, and it'll just move off. The rod will be kicking and it'll just move off. So we're just waiting for something a bit unusual. Could be a slack line bite. Don't get many of those here for bass. More mainly it'll just keels over really. Probably because he just, you know, he fails the hook and he sort of feels a bit of resistance and he just tears off. Just a waiting game. That's all it is, really. Just a waiting game. Bit of rope here. Use that for something. Pepsi Max. Makes you a little bit leery, that old Pepsi Max. But it's very tasty. There's no sugar in it. I also know Leah. She's a football player, isn't she? Yeah, she's got herself on there. Lovely sea, lovely colour that. Planes up there. Where are we going? We're going to Amsterdam or somewhere like that probably. Or been to Amsterdam. Now heading home. Going anywhere. Anyway, that's pretty much the gist of it really. Fishing whole squid. Like I say, I'm not in a position to get hold of any proper bait. been sort of preoccupied, so I just sort of managed to get hold of some good quality bait in the form of that particular squid, and if they're there, they should take it. Yeah, he's been out on the rig, so no doubt, that guy there. Right. Magnets on about an 8. See what we can get here. Beautiful. Lovely sea. Beautiful. What a weed. I mean, people do say about putting 2 squid on, but it just casts a bit better like that, I find. What I'm going to do, put them in there while I climb over. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say really. It's like, a couple of nights ago somebody had one just under 7. I'd say that's the biggest which has been reported in the area. A couple of others just under 6, I think. The water temperature is about 11, so when it gets to about 13 there's a lot more activity, but it doesn't seem to matter. With that storm we had after the event, the fish have got hungry and they sort of come in. So timing really, the sea's settled down a lot, but it's got a nice roll onto it. You really want lugworm really, or field prey. But a few local people who live along the beaches, they seem to do the best, obviously, because they just, you know, they're sitting on the couch and oh, it looks good, and I'm on the beach in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit more difficult for people who live further away. But the 2 fish being caught yesterday. This was yesterday. So one thing with bass fishing, one day is completely different to the other. You just gotta go when you think it's right, really. But for a lot of people with commitments and things, that's when you can get on the beach. So for optimum conditions, go inside after sort of a bit of a blow up. Biggest tides as well, back end the biggest tides and things like that. But you do hit, you know, over the years I've seen pictures and stories of fish being caught in flat calm seas. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just, the more hours you put in, the more chasing you do, the better. The more effort you put into it, bait, hours on the beach, the better you will do. But it's not easy. It's not like carp fishing where they've all been put in a little pond and you sit there and you pull them out one after the other. It's a different kettle of fish really. Different kettle of fish coming out with it as well. So here we are. Here we are. I'll let you know if I get one. I've got to save this back because it's the only battery I've got. How much battery have I got? Not a lot. Enough. See, it's getting deeper out there now. Sea's flattening off a little bit, which I don't like, but that's to do with the incoming tide. It is what it is. This is red weed, look. Come about an hour and a quarter before. There's masses of red weed just appeared in this sector here. Back a bit, splash on the camera. There's a lot of red weed out there, so if you were lure fishing, that would pose a bit of a problem. It's all floating about, red weed from these seas we had at the weekend. Our bait's a lot further out than that, but you can, there's a lot of weed getting on your line. What you can do, instead of having your trace above your lead, you can set yourself a longer trace, maybe 6 foot, tie it on just in front of the lead knot, or where the clip is, and have it trailing behind. So in theory, your main line and leader acts as the clothesline with all the weed attached to it, and usually your bait all trapped up there. And then in theory, your bait on the 6 foot trace behind the lead is on the bottom and away from any weed. So you're still fishing despite a clothesline. So there's one that you can do that. Now it does, apparently it does tangle from time to time like that when you cast, trailing out the back, but apparently it's worth the risk because it sort of tangles once every 6 casts or something like that. So just bear that in mind, and also how you cast as well. So it's worth the gamble. If you're turning up and it's like, you know, if you don't mind pulling weed off your line when you wind in, you can still fish effectively with that rig. We're in on a whole squid. It's good fish as well. We're in, my boy, we're in. Line's punching up to one side, don't worry about that. Right, because of the way we're fishing, I'm going to grab the leader, hope for the best. I took 1 or 2 lunges. He's a monster, but there he is, he's going. Thought he's gone then. Still no surflet. Fish. Gotcha. What about that then? Whole squid. Look at that. Now that is a bass. That's a beauty. That's an absolute beauty. Look at that. Makes it all worthwhile. Look at that. Absolutely magic. Just lip hooked. Sorry, in the corner of his mouth, look. That's got to be getting on 6 pounds, I'd say. That's a beauty. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Pleased with that. Right, let's do that like that. Look at this. Unbelievable. Fantastic. Pleased with that. I could go back for another day, but let's see. So we're just winding in. There's a big squid bait on this. There's a lot of red weed. Perfect conditions. Got some real slop on. Just put on a fair few magnets when we cast as well. I think there's a fish on it. I know there's a big old bit of squid on this. I'm just going to change to a fresher one and a slightly smaller one. Yeah, big old bit of squid. Too big really, get a bit carried away, but that's what was in the, what was there. Just weed off there. Right, let's save a bit of battery. There you go, that's all it is. Ocean Angel, California. Had some good fish off these squids over the years. Different species, different countries. Phenomenal bait, and streamlined bait, good for casting. It's a good lead there as well. It's a good 7-ounce lead. So we use the Millionaire, super tuned. Whack on the magnets to about an 8. So we've got some sort of control. It's caught around the top. Iron out all your problems early on, and you've got loads on that. So okay, this has got to go well. Come on, and we wire away. Release the magnets. Bang. There you go. It's got to be 100 yards maybe, don't know. Get the line out the red weed. See all that horrible red weed there turned up? Get it out of that. If I'm on the spool so you can get any early knocks. So the beauty of one rod and one hook, one box of squid will last you the session. I have actually fished the an hour of the ebb this morning. We're now at the top of the tide, getting at the top of the tide. We're on a whole box of squid, 5 quid. So doesn't matter really where you go along here, it's more to do with the conditions. There's a bit of chop there helps, but this, you know, I could tell you where I am, but it don't really make a lot of difference. That's the full stretch of the coast really. They're coming out all over the place at the minute, but you've just got to be doing the, you've either got to have a peeler crab on or a big bit of lugworm with a biggish hook, I would say, just to sort of get off so the small fish don't grab it, and or a whole squid or a whole joey mackerel or something like that would do it. Round here it's the squid, it's the peeler, and it's the lugworm, or ragworm would do it as well. That's what I would try around here, these parts. And then it's just literally putting your bait out there where you think, I mean a lot of people say, you know, they're coming in close 20 yards, but a beach like this, a little bit different. It's more distance here, slightly. Ain't got to be a brilliant caster, but you maybe want to be sort of at least 60, 70 yards, I would say, here. You want to be out past these sort of groins, which are, we're just waiting for another sort of knock. I mean, that bite was quite subtle actually, but it was, my first reaction was it was a bite, and then I didn't dive on it. I just watched it, and I said to myself, I said, if it goes again, I will pick the rod up and go for it, and it did. That's what happened. So initially it showed me a bite, so I glanced up, I looked at it, and the bite sort of diffused, and I sort of, my mind was saying, well, if it happens again, I will, you know, it's back, or it's there. And that was enough for me to, and he was on, but as you see from the video, you can see what happened. He picked up the bait head first, the squid head first. He picked up the hook first with the head, took it down. He took the whole thing down, and then he moved off, and as the line attached to the leader pulled away, he got snared in the corner of the mouth with a 4.0 hook. That's a 4.0 Varivas, really thin. You notice how thin that hook was, and if you ever put your finger on those hooks, they are like a needle. They are absolutely razor sharp. Bass do have bony mouths, and you want to make sure, I'm always, every cast, I'm always checking what my barb is doing on my hook. It doesn't take much, but it just catches a stone or something, just to blunt it a little bit. That's got to be razor sharp. Give you every opportunity to set that hook. Well, really you want it to set the hook itself. You don't want to be striking or anything like that. You're relying on the fish and the rig snaring the fish itself. You shouldn't be having to strike or anything like that, this kind of tactics. But I tell you now, we've not had any other bites. That's just been that one solitary fish. But that's often the way this time of year. It will just be one solitary fish. I've been down here over the years and I've had 10 or 15 out in one tide. All small fish, one after the other. But often with the bigger fish, especially this time of year when the water's still cold, I get the impression they're sort of solitary fish, just coming in for a bit of a feed after the sea's had a bit of a blow up over the weekend, and they're just coming in. They just sort of got hungry in that rough weather, and they're just coming in to see what's been loosened up from the seabed. Yeah, it's not rocket science, this fishing. You just got to be doing the basics well. You've got to come down at what you believe is the right, you know, right times. You just got to put the hours in. And you don't need 2 rods, you don't need 3 rods. Just need 1 rod, doing the right thing, being in the right spot at the right time. That's as simple as that. I'm getting older now, so I can't walk these long distances carrying lots of gear. So I've fine-tuned myself now, just to sort of having 1 set of kit. You do run the risk if you have some damage to the rod or something during a session. You do sort of, you know, you can have an early home time, but I think that's, if you've got good quality gear, there's no need to worry about things like that. We've got some spare line this time. I've got some spare line, spare hooks and things, and we just wait. Just check. I keep always clock watching as well, conscious of what condition my bait is looking like out there. Even if it's a bigger squid, I still believe it needs to be intact. Little fish nibbling at it and things like that, so I'd rather that it to be whole when the bass approaches it. So just conscious of what knocks and bangs it actually gets, you know, what it looks like when it comes back in. If it's had some nibbles and things like that, will determine how long I leave that bit of bait out there. I may even treat it like a bit of lugworm, even a whole squid, a bit like the lugworm, where I'm only going to have it out there for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. You know, it just depends what you're doing. I was debating bringing 2 boxes of squid, but I thought that would be a bit much. 1 rod if I was fishing 2 rods maybe, but we've managed to fish a window at the bottom of the tide and a window at the top of the tide with 1 box of squid. So no other knocks yet. Sometimes these bass bites over the years, for the better fish, they can be really slow, and if you're not watching your rod tip, you can miss it. But the bites are generally quite pronounced, even, you know, on the bigger fish. Sometimes you get a You just can't miss it. The whole rod just keels right over as he's moving off. So there's no problems with that one. But I've been on the beach before when I've seen bites that are ever so slight, and the fish have been quite big, where the rod tip will just sort of jolt a couple of times, like a giant crab has got hold of the bait and just yanks it a couple of times and then nothing. But that's the actual bass picking up the bait. And I'll be brutally honest, got lucky, just thought, all right, I better wind in. I wind in and the fish is actually on. And lightly hooked as well. So it's a very, you can, I think these hooks I've got, these Varavas 4.0, really thin, really sharp. I think they give you an added sort of, added edge there, definitely. It's, yeah, it's all happening. All happening. No other bites, just getting 10 minutes before high water. Say as much distance as you can on this beach anyway. It's quite a heavy bait to go with it, but the lead helps it. That size lead helps it. So perfect. What a result. There's cottons down there, look. Oh, drop the cotton. Where's the cotton gone? Where's the cotton gone? Now this is a really good fillet knife, Martini, Finland, razor sharp. Good old knife that. Right, okay. We're getting there. Still fishing. Still fishing.